The Midnight Intruder. Once, in a quiet town shrouded in mist, there lived a boy named Ethan. He was known for his insatiable curiosity and fearless spirit, but little did he know that one fateful night would test the limits of his courage. It was a moonless night, and the wind whispered eerie secrets through the trees. The air grew colder, and shadows danced on the walls. Ethan's parents were away, leaving him alone in their old, creaking house. The clock struck midnight, a sound that seemed to reverberate through the very bones of the building. Suddenly, a sharp rap echoed through the hallway. Ethan's heart raced. He crept towards the door, trembling fingers gripping the handle. The hallway stretched out like a never-ending nightmare, every creak and groan echoing like a sinister laugh. As Ethan opened the door, a bone-chilling sight met his eyes. A figure stood there, draped in tattered rags, face concealed by darkness. The intruder's breath rattled, filling the air with a malevolent presence. Panic surged through Ethan, but he knew he had to escape. He turned, sprinting down the hall, the intruder's footsteps echoing ominously behind him. He reached the staircase, taking the steps two at a time. The house seemed to close in on him, the walls pressing in as if conspiring with the intruder. Ethan burst into his room, slamming the door shut and locking it with trembling hands. He scanned the room for any means of escape. The window was his only hope. He flung it open, but as he looked down, his heart sank. The drop was too far, and the ground was shrouded in a thick fog, hiding any chance of salvation. Desperation settled in, and Ethan's eyes darted around the room. His gaze fell on an old wardrobe, its hinges groaning in protest as he pulled it open. Inside, amidst moth-eaten clothes, he found an old, dusty trapdoor. It led to the attic, a place he had never dared to explore. Ethan climbed up, his breath hitching with every step. Cobwebs clung to him like sinister hands, and the air was heavy with an oppressive darkness. He found himself surrounded by forgotten relics of the past, their presence only heightening the sense of dread. He pushed forward, navigating the maze of forgotten memories. Suddenly, a chilling whisper reached his ears, reverberating through the rafters. "Ethan!" it hissed, sending shivers down his spine. The intruder was in the house, drawing closer with every passing second. Ethan stumbled upon an old mirror, its glass cracked and clouded. He caught a glimpse of his terrified reflection, a stark reminder of the peril he faced. He had to find a way out. In a distant corner of the attic, he spotted a small window. He rushed towards it, the hope of escape renewed. With a final surge of strength, he pushed it open, revealing the moonlit night. The roof was just below. Summoning every ounce of courage, Ethan clambered out onto the rooftop. The shingles were slippery beneath his trembling feet, but he dared not look back. He made his way down, his breath mingling with the icy air. As he reached the ground, he turned to face the house. In the attic window, he saw the figure, its form silhouetted against the pale light of the moon. The intruder watched, a silent witness to Ethan's escape. Ethan fled into the night, heart pounding, leaving behind the house of shadows and the terror that lurked within. He would never forget that night, a night when fear and courage danced a macabre waltz, leaving an indelible mark on his soul. The Haunting of Hollowbrook. In the small town of Hollowbrook, nestled between ancient woods and misty marshes, there stood an old, decrepit mansion shrouded in mystery. It was said to be haunted, and the locals spoke of eerie whispers that emanated from its rotting walls. One fateful night, a group of 6 children from Hollowbrook Elementary School decided to test their courage and explore the mansion. Among them was Jake, the ringleader, a mischievous boy known for his reckless behavior. There was Lily, Jake's brash and headstrong younger sister who never backed down from a dare. Timmy, the quiet and sensitive boy who often followed along, afraid to be left out. Sarah, a sweet but easily influenced girl, always trying to fit in. Mark, the shy, bookish boy who preferred the company of his imagination. And finally, Lucas, the new kid who yearned to belong. The night was dark and the wind howled through the trees as they approached the mansion. Cobwebs clung to the door and the air was thick with an oppressive silence. They pushed open the creaking door, stepping into a world of shadows and secrets. As they ventured further, their laughter echoed through the halls, bouncing off the decrepit walls. They wandered into a room that seemed untouched by time, where a dusty portrait of a boy with soulful eyes stared down at them. Mark, feeling uneasy, spoke up. "Guys, I heard a story about this place. They say it's haunted by a boy named Samuel. He used to live here, but something terrible happened." The others exchanged nervous glances, but Jake scoffed, dismissing Mark's words as mere superstition. Lily, always eager to prove herself, urged them to press on. Hours passed, and they explored every dark corner, finding nothing but emptiness. As they prepared to leave, they heard a faint, mournful wail, like a distant cry for help. Panic gripped them, and they raced toward the sound, ending up in a desolate attic. There, in the pale moonlight, they saw him, a translucent figure with sorrowful eyes. It was Samuel, the boy from the portrait, his spirit bound to the mansion. He reached out to them, a silent plea etched in his ethereal face. Terror consumed them, realizing they were not alone. Guilt gnawed at their hearts, for they had unknowingly awakened Samuel's spirit, drawn by their taunts and laughter echoing through the mansion. The realization struck them like a lightning bolt. As days passed, the haunting grew more intense. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision, and Samuel's presence was felt everywhere. He whispered their names, a chilling reminder of their role in his torment. One by one, the children were visited by Samuel's ghost in their darkest moments, a pale specter of retribution. Each encounter left them trembling, haunted by their collective sin. They sought solace in each other, pledging to find a way to free Samuel's soul from the mansion's malevolent grip. Through dusty tomes and ancient scrolls, they uncovered the truth. Samuel's death was a result of their thoughtless actions, their words and laughter driving him to despair. With heavy hearts, they performed a ritual to release Samuel from his spectral prison. As the final incantation echoed through the mansion, a blinding light filled the room, and Samuel's spirit dissipated, leaving behind an overwhelming sense of peace. From that moment on, Hollowbrook Mansion stood silent, its secrets finally laid to rest. The children, forever changed by their harrowing experience, vowed to be kinder, to never let thoughtlessness lead to such a tragic end again. But the memory of Samuel's haunting gaze lingered, a reminder that their actions had consequences, even in the darkest corners of their hearts. And so, they carried his memory with them, a beacon of empathy and remorse, forever binding them to the boy they had wronged. The Shadowed Woods. In the heart of the Pacific Northwest, nestled between ancient trees and hidden in the shadows of the mountains, lay the cursed woods of Black Ridge. This desolate place was whispered about in hushed tones, the locals avoiding it at all costs. For within its depths, a malevolent presence stirred, waiting for unsuspecting souls to wander into its domain. One fateful autumn evening, as the moon hung low and the wind whispered eerie lullabies through the branches, a group of adventurous friends set out on a dare to conquer the infamous Black Ridge Woods. Ignoring the tales of missing hikers and strange sightings, they plunged into the forest, armed only with flashlights and nervous laughter. As the night descended, so did an uncanny stillness. The trees seemed to close in, casting long, grasping shadows that reached for the intruders. The air grew cold, carrying with it a scent of damp earth and something more sinister, something primate. The group pressed on, their footsteps muffled by layers of decaying leaves. But soon, the laughter faded, replaced by uneasy glances and quickened breaths. Shadows danced at the periphery of their vision, and the forest seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy. Then, from the depths of the woods, a low, guttural growl rumbled through the darkness. It sent shivers down their spines, freezing them in their tracks. The once bold adventurers now clung together, their eyes wide with terror. And then, emerging from the blackness, it came. Towering and fearsome, eyes gleaming with a feral intelligence, stood Bigfoot. Its massive frame was shrouded in matted fur, blending seamlessly with the shadows. It moved with an eerie grace, each step shaking the ground beneath them. Time seemed to slow, as if the world held its breath in anticipation. The forest itself seemed to hold its breath. Every leaf, every twig, every creature hushed in fearful reverence. In that moment, the truth became undeniable. The legends were real, and they were face to face with the very embodiment of terror. The friends were trapped in a nightmare, their minds unable to process the enormity of the creature before them. Bigfoot's eyes locked onto theirs, a primal intelligence gleaming in the darkness. It let out another haunting growl, a warning that echoed through the trees. With a sudden, swift movement, it vanished back into the depths of the forest, leaving the friends alone in the suffocating silence. Terrified and trembling, they turned and fled, crashing through underbrush and leaping over fallen logs, driven by the instinct to survive. They did not dare look back for fear of what they might see. Eventually, they stumbled out of the woods, gasping for air and covered in scratches. They vowed never to speak of that night, but the memory of Bigfoot's piercing gaze haunted their dreams for years to come. The Black Ridge Woods remained forever tainted, a place where the boundary between legend and reality blurred. And in the hearts of those who survived, the terror of that night served as a grim reminder that some mysteries are best left unexplored, and some legends are too real to be dismissed.